expanding quickly. We have quite a bit of momentum going on right now on the sales, marketing, and customer facing side of things. We're looking for enterprise account executives, a customer success manager, one, two, potentially as we continue to grow. We are looking for marketing support, marketing manager, marketing director type role, and solutions consultants to support our sales process. So reach out if you want to chat about that in more detail. Of course, if you have questions now, we can take those as well. And Fiona, you can chat about the product side of the world.
So we are looking for senior developers, 5 to be exact, to help build our product in an enterprise scale. We are also looking for QA as well as a machine learning engineer. So where we are as a startup, going back to what I said, right now with 8 full-time employees and about 6 or 7 contractors. As a startup, what we've built so far is what you would call a minimally commercially viable product, where it's good enough for demo, good enough for pilots, but not good enough for commercial. So one of the questions is, are there any existing clients? In fact, that's why we're raising money as well as hiring right now, is because yes, we do. We've done 3 successful pilots last year with a global tier 1 bank, a global standards body, as well as one of the top 3 management consulting company. And some of these are converting into a commercial contract. So what we're looking for really is, first of all, and the interview process, let me explain. So we typically do 3 rounds of interviews. The first round is with me, doing a cultural fit, and I can talk more about like what we're looking for in terms of cultural fit. And then if it's a technical job, then I pass it on to our technical interviewers. We have 2 amazing senior solutions architects who have over 20 years of experience from IBM, won multiple technical achievement awards, multiple patents. So they have been brought in already to help us scale the platform. So that's on the technical side. On the sales and marketing side, Colleen will be the one that is doing the main hiring and interview once you pass the first round. And then ultimately, if you pass the first 2 rounds of interviews, you will meet the CEO, David Van Bruin, who is my co-founder and also the CEO of Fairly AI. He previously had another AI startup where he was using NLP, natural language processing, to do cyberbullying detection on social media. It's through the journey where he was the head of data science, then he became the CEO. And when that company was sold to another company, he became a board member. So through the journey from the bottom to the top, where he already saw this problem way ahead of the market, that there needs to be oversight on AI, and that's where the idea of Fairly came from. And if you look at who's in our customer pipeline right now, like, it's actually pretty horizontal. So we started in the financial services. We were in Accenture's FinTech Innovation Lab of London, UK. We already did our product market validation with 14 tier 1 banks. That's how we started the startup. But then in the last 6 to 9 months, honestly, we're seeing a lot of traction outside of financial services. Like I talked about the management company, management consulting company. I talked about the a global standards body. So we also have like an oil and gas super major, who's coming in on our code, like inbound leads right now are very big company like a furniture store, happiest place on earth, someone that makes airplane. So they're all, what's common about all of these companies are they are all considered leader in their respective industries. They are one of the most advanced users of AI. So they've been building AI very long, and they all foresee these AI regulations coming, the proper guardrail, proper oversight for AI as a competitive advantage. And if you've seen, the news about the EU AI Act, is considered a global standard like GDPR, which is the global standard for data privacy. So people are looking at the EU AI Act as a global standard for AI regulations. So all of these things are a confluence of why we are getting all the traction we're getting. So I'm seeing a few questions here. Colleen, is there some that you want to pick out?
Yeah, I've skipped a
Oh, you've
few
been
that
asked.
I want to hand over to you. So what's the tech stack for senior developer and QA?
Okay, senior developers and QA, we are on React, Node.js, MongoDB on the back end. And yes, hi, Steve, we noticed you're here. We realized my co-founder's brother is actually in the chat. We've been trying to recruit you, Steve. Let's chat.
And then
Yeah.
Samir is asking about our fundraising round, where we are as a company, and our current vision of the platform or Web3.
Um, we are not a Web3 company. In fact, when we were doing fundraising recently, people told us Web3 is dead. If you raise with Web 2.5, you may still have a chance of getting money raised. So VC like to invest in kind of a herd mentality, is what I learned. Uh, I think what we are looking for in terms of cultural fit. Sorry, I forgot the other part of your question, but I do want to address the cultural fit. What I'm looking for, because we're an early stage startup. Anyone that we bring in right now, we're still considering them part of the founding team. So for us, it's really looking for someone who's willing to roll up their sleeve and wear multiple hats, and really understand that we're an early stage startup. So if you work at a big corporate job, it's a very different space you're in. You definitely would feel like the work that you do have like direct impact on whether we actually succeed or fail as a startup. So this is something that could be very exciting for people. It could be very stressful for people. So that's something for you to really decide whether an early stage startup is the right fit for you. So that's like really one of the main things I look for, is to make sure people understand that we're an early stage startup when they interview for Fairly.
And I think just to add into that, so I joined Fairly a year and a half ago. I was previously enterprise sales rep at Hootsuite, Canadian, Vancouver-based tech company. I'm sure most of you know about it. And moved into Fairly. I really wanted to gain experience in a startup and kind of figure out how this whole 0 to 1 customer, 1 to 10 customers works. And see if like mentorship and advising companies startups down the road was something that was a fit for me. I can tell you the last year and a half, I have never learned so much in such a short period of time, never had more opportunity to really get into all the areas that really interest me, where I feel like I can have a massive impact. The key to that is you have to be ready to wear multiple hats. You have to be ready to have a day that you had planned but kind of gets tossed upside down because new priorities come up, or there's something really exciting that we are working towards, or you've figured out a massive roadblock that we have to kind of break through. It often is all hands on deck. We are a team that is really dedicated to figuring this out. I think we all have like a unique passion now that, for those of us who are newer and have been there longer, are just really kind of connected to figuring it out. It's such a jigsaw puzzle. Um, but the thing that it gives you is the opportunity. If you're new to industry, you're new to the workforce, or you have a few years under your belt, or even if you've been in the workforce for years, it gives you the opportunity to really hone in on a skill set, create your own path within an organization, and test and learn probably like you haven't before if you haven't been a part of a startup. So it's quite energizing.
And
Yeah.
while you're chatting, I see a few more questions come in. So I'll try to address some of them, if not all. Feel free to LinkedIn either Colleen or myself, and we would love to continue the conversation and answer some of these questions if we don't get to them. I think one of the question is, how important are technical skills for a solutions consultant? Can strong soft skills counterbalance insufficient technical knowledge? So from my point of view, a solutions consultant is one person that works closely with Colleen to do customer demos and some of the early sales calls. And also when the customer is doing a pilot or ready to start the commercial contract, we have the solutions consultant also doing the customer training and onboarding. So we do have one solutions consultant right now. So he did a boot camp in data science, and that was sufficient enough for us. But he did have a master's background in statistics, so that also helped. So I think for the product that we're doing, an understanding of the data scientist role is essential, but not necessary that you have actually worked as a data scientist before. But having understanding of statistical concepts is also very helpful. Colleen, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would say like the concept of stats is pretty important in this role. Part of our solution helps. Part of our solution is supporting companies doing AI audit or audit of their AI systems, their higher risk systems, and organizations that we're working with really see our platform as like an opportunity to replace statisticians in some ways in their role in internal audit or with consulting companies that they work with. And so I would echo that. That being said, I was not technical at all before coming into the role, coming into Fairly, and have spent some time really trying to familiarize myself with the technical side of things. It's quite important to be able to really connect and solve problems. As we grow, though, we are focused on a platform that really it provides an interpretation of the technical of what's going on the technical side of the business of AI systems and translating that for non-technical business users. So while I think this is a long answer, I apologize, but while the CS or the SC role is probably more technical right now, I see the technical requirements kind of waning as we grow and really get become more focused on the business users.
Yeah. Thank you, Colleen. I also want to address, I think a few people here are looking for entry level developer roles, or they just finish a boot camp and they're looking for their first developer roles. So the environment for the tech development developer job is very different from last year. Honestly, we were hiring people from like Lighthouse Lab right out of boot camp in late 2020 and 2021 when it was really hard to get good tech developers, and there were a lot of government fundings that basically allow us to hire people who I think they call underskilled workers from boot camps for basically free. So we did use a lot of interns from the boot camps, and then we kept some of them after their 6-month internship and promote them to a full-time role. And honestly, some left because they find back to paying job. But I think this year the market has been more balanced and those funding all dried up. So we have not proactively looked for people who just graduated from boot camps anymore. The other thing is, because we are at a different stage of the company, when we were building an MVP, we feel like it was necessary for us to use lower cost labor that may not be able to build an enterprise scale product. But because both myself and my co-founder are technical, we were able to guide some of those developers. But now that we are at a different stage where we're really looking at someone who basically rebuild the platform into an enterprise scale platform, scalable platform, we're looking for people like with more senior, intermediate to senior development skills to help with this current effort. Having said all of that, I see the next stage of our growth would be once we have all these senior developers in place, we would then look at growing the pipeline again and hiring junior developers. The other challenge we have right now is because we're in a hyper growth mode, I don't have time to mentor our solutions architect. Actually, they're also busy architecting and building, so they don't have a lot of time to mentor. And it's not a win-win situation when we bring in more junior developer that needs that mentorship. And they don't get that if we don't have time to give it to them. So I think that's why we decided that we should just focus on hiring intermediate to senior developers now for this next phase, because we do have a deadline deliverable to meet. And then after that, as the company continues to grow, then we'll go back and expand the team with more junior talents. So keep in touch is what I'm saying. Follow us on LinkedIn.
James, I'm just reading your question here. Totally. I think it's a combination of both. Really, what we're focused on is making sure that AI that organizations are running is actually safe. And so running, having the ability to monitor and kind of see all AI systems under one view. Only in this one audit particular instance do I see it actually replacing anyone, and what they were using that for. They were hiring a consultant for that role. The statistician role that I was talking about. Really, most of all, our solution saves data scientists time, removes the burden of needing to know all these policies and global regulations that are coming in around AI, because we kind of connect it for them, and give them the tool to be able to connect their system to the policies, without being that expert. Um, and I agree. I think like where AI is going, we are in a massive transition right now, just globally as people and as companies. I think it's going to be really exciting to see kind of how this all plays out. Having Chat GPT, generative AI, all these new AIs at our fingertips is just accelerating that and getting people pretty excited about the space. So tons of change and hopefully opportunity ahead.
I think we have a couple, 30 seconds left. So the last thing is I want to mention, I think it's been mentioned in the chat already, we're a remote first company. I've been building remote teams since 2001, even before Zoom or Google Meet existed, when you're literally on conference call with your remote team. So that's the culture we build in, and I encourage people to travel and work in a foreign destination. That's my goal. That's my personal dream as well. So we'll keep it that way.